Right, a video on a 3D printer. So this is my first 3D printer that I bought. I bought it secondhand, just under 300 New Zealand, and I gotta say, I really like it. It's not a perfect printer by any means, but it's a nice little printer. So I'll just go over some of the changes I've made. So first change is I've actually changed the head and the fan system. The original head did me well. I got over 200 hours of printing time on the original head. A lot of people said that, they weren't very good, but I think I did rather well. So the type of head I've got in there now is one of these. Just cost me about $20–25 off Trade Me, which is the New Zealand version of like eBay. And it's a nice print head, I like it. So I've built this custom, so 3D printed the custom fan extraction for it, and on the side here it's got a little fan which feeds the cooler but also blows air just across the top, and I found that made quite a difference. So other modifications is, well, I've separated the two feeds. They used to be together. I found that put less twist and strain on this, as well as I threw away the spiral and use the split conduit. It's a product I prefer a lot better. And I've also put a lighting strip in. Around the back I have removed the switch from the back and also removed the plug, and have moved the wiring to be external rather than tucked in underneath the bed. I just found that puts less strain on the wiring while it's printing. And the reason I did this, remove the plug and direct hardwire to the cabling from the power brick, was to remove the resistance that was apparent through the plug. And I say apparent because it used to get really hot, and sometimes it would even disconnect and turn the printer off. So the other thing I've done is on the side here I've changed the spool system. I found the other one was just a little bit too clunky. I do have this on my desk, so I like its small form factor, and so I've just made, not using 3D printer but actually some jar parts, just a simple holder there. The spools I've adapted out of the originals, and you can just put that in there, screw it in, and you wait laughing. So that's just to make it a little bit more compact. I've moved the switch from the back to the front, so you can just turn it on there. And got the lighting switch up there, just puts a little bit of light onto the print jobs if I want to have a look at it. Other modification is I've drilled out holes here, and I have drilled holes on this side as well, and mounted a fan in. Since I've done that, instead of this whole body getting rather warm, hot even, it now stays nice and cool. So I tend to print from the, well, actually not tend to, I only print from the SD card. I find using the USB, it just always disconnected. It was no good. So I just use this to feed it back into my computer, and that normally stays there. I just mounted a little magnet inside here, so it just clicks into place. The other thing I've got here is I've got a magnet up here where I keep the bit for doing the bead adjustments. So it just sits there. One thing I really like about this printer, apart from its size, is it's a very musical printer. So I like the noise it makes. My other printer, the bigger one, it's a little bit more raucous, a little bit more rattly. Whereas this is, like I say, it's a very musical one with all the stepper motors and everything, because it only uses little stepper motors. You know, it's not a big balls out printer. There are some downsides to this printer. You know, having only been supported from one side means you get a little bit of noise on the Z-axis. Sort of am looking into ways of fixing that, to see if it can be improved, which would basically involve having a secondary stepper motor on the side controlling this part of it. Downside, that would add a little bit of extra width to it, which doesn't suit me on my desk. So may or may not happen, but that's something I might look at. The controls are okay. When I first started to use it, I was like, oh, I want to be a touch screen, but got used to the dial pretty quickly. And yeah, not much else to say about it. So there's a couple of things I've printed. I mean, I've printed a lot. I mean, I have printed well over 300 hours now. So this is just one thing that I printed. What is it? It's actually just a screw cap for those squeeze tubes that you use in the big squeeze tube holders, and just screw that on. Stops the insides getting dry, extends the life of them. This is another thing that I printed, so it just runs on a motor of 12 volts and spins this, and there's actually a paint tin shaker. So if you have one of these model paints, pop that in, turn it on, and it basically just vibrates and shakes the tin up. I do have a little widget that I put in there to keep it tight so it doesn't go flying. So I just made little brackets to hold the power in and the on-off switch. It's not very refined, but it works, makes a heck of a racket. And another one is, this is something that is not my own design, as some of you will probably be aware. So these are like the cable sleeves for running cables inside. So main plan behind these is on the CNC milling machine. That's my little project. So that's still a work in progress, and something that I will be videoing and updating. So it took a little while to heat up, as you can see. So it's about probably, what, 4 or 5 minutes. Didn't actually measure. And now it starts its print. So I don't know how well that audio is coming through, but it's got that nice nice sound to it. Looks like I might have to do another bead alignment. Seems like it's a little bit low. So the tape I use here is just builder's painting tape. It is a high-end one, quite pricey, I thought, for masking tape. Wouldn't want to mask a whole lot of stuff off with it, but you know, when you consider what you use for 3D printing, you know, the price is totally reasonable. So that's it. That's my Monoprice 3D printer. So I just paid under 300 New Zealand for it. I like it. I have used it a lot. I have made a lot of things with it, and I believe it performs very well. Nice little printer. It's my #1 go-to printer. I use the other one. What I want to print is just too big for this one. Then I'll go to the other printer and use that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is just my introduction to my first 3D printer. It's a good little printer. I really like it. My next video is probably going to be a strip down of a laptop. I've got a laptop, it's an old laptop, keeps on shutting down, not worth spending any money on it, so I'll scrap it out for useful parts and bits and pieces, and that's about it. Okay, hope you've enjoyed. Well, I hope someone watches it. That's the first thing. If you do, I'd love to get a subscriber. Haven't got one yet, and it'd be nice to get some views. So thank you for your time.